Hello, can you hear my audio? I am just eating falafel. Mm. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat. Mm-mm. Maybe the stream is just really slow. Is it really slow? Nobody tells me. Oh, it says that the stream is good. Okay. Piero Tello says, yeah, I can hear you. Awesome. Thank you. Um, yes, I am also hungry. I just got off of a meeting, so I'm starving. I didn't have time to buy anything except falafel. Um, Hello to Shar, Hans, Math Tricks, Jack, everyone, Allah, Rajnikant, um, Adhar. Why do you miss falafel? Why don't you just have falafel right now? That's what I want to know. Robert, stream is Gucci. Awesome. Canton's eating a bagel. I feel bad that I'm eating this right now in the stream, but it was kind of like, do I wait 5 minutes to finish eating and then start? Or do I start but finish eating on camera? I guess I'm just gonna eat on camera. Kind of gross. I'm sorry. This is like mukbang, whatever that's called. No. So what is the purpose of this stream? I guess I didn't say that at all. I'm still getting over a cold, if you can tell. The purpose is just, I guess, if you have any questions about life, I'm here to coach you and, let you know that it's going to be completely fine. It's not durum. It's like a shawarma, kind of. So it's basically everything inside a durum, but in a wrap instead. So that's what I'm eating. Marta's from Norway. Takk for turen, Marta. Takk for turen. Takk, takk. And skål. Hans is in the Netherlands. What do I know that's Dutch? Nothing. Munib asks me, do I know anything about design engineering? Unfortunately, not. That sounds like a very broad subject that covers a lot of engineering disciplines. What is that, like materials engineering? I don't know design engineering. I'm sorry. Yes. Once again, the purpose is just to hang out and to potentially, maybe, perhaps, answer some questions that people might have about their life. Manuela wants to know, how many languages do you speak? I speak 4 languages, but all very terribly. English, French, Russian, and German, but not very well. None of those very well. Hans asked me, have I been to the Netherlands? Yes, I was, of course, in Amsterdam, and then in Den Haag, and then in Rotterdam. Yeah, it was very nice. I like Den Haag the best, more than Amsterdam. Thank you, Nitika. That's a really nice message. I some it just makes me really happy. Marta, pretty good Norwegian. Tak. And skål. Well, my English Should be pretty good because I grew up in Canada. Um, I went to a French school. My family speaks Russian, and then I moved here to learn German. So I would say that English has to be my best language. K-pop wants to know, do you think it's necessary to have any prior engineering knowledge when applying for it at university? I didn't know any engineering before I applied. I just had good grades in high school, which was like physics, math, and chemistry, basically. And then I applied and I got in, but I knew nothing about anything like even programming, even electronics, really nothing. So I think you don't need to know anything. Kathon, the internet wants to know any thoughts on mycology. Is mycology the ology about mushrooms? If I'm correct, then I am super proud of myself. Monique wants to know, when is my project going to finish? You mean where I'm employed right now? I'm working in Berlin until the end of October. Piero wants to know if I have a PhD. No, I have my master's in mechanical engineering. Mm-hmm. Hit on the internet. I'm super proud of myself, mycology. So your question was, do I have any thoughts on mycology? Well, I think knowing that that's the study of mushrooms is already a lot more than the normal person. So I would say I know a lot about mycology. Thank you, Hans. My mom picked it out. She picks out all of my clothes. Sad but true. How's the heat wave in Berlin? It's quite hot. It's uncomfortable. I have to spend most of the time in the water. Thankfully, I work next to a lake, so I can go kayak in the morning and go swimming when it's too hot at lunchtime. Um, I really can't live in the heat. It's not my best like skill. Uh-huh. So Nitika asked me, do I plan to do a PhD in the future? And actually, I guess this is kind of like an announcement or like a surprise for you guys to know. Is I don't know if you remember, but I made these videos about applying for a grant at ETH back in January, and it was about this sensor that I wanted to develop for river conservation. And I had to apply with a guy in electrical engineering and a person in environmental engineering to this really competitive grant at ETH. And I found out a few weeks ago that I actually got the grant. So I'm kind of celebrating right now with my falafel and my Göse Radler. So I'm actually, you know, like kind of happy for myself, but also I can't throw myself a party like, hey everyone, I got this grant, come party with me, because that's really weird. So instead I'm just celebrating quietly while watching Jessica Jones on Netflix, eating falafel, and hanging out with you guys. But it's also kind of weird because I'm just talking to the camera, but I can see all your messages here. Thank you. People are congratulating me. So a few weeks ago, I didn't know if I was going to take the grant because I actually got another PhD offer in Innsbruck, but I managed to go back to Switzerland on Monday and talk to the professor that I had originally submitted the grant with, and I asked him if I could do a collaboration with ETH and with the University of Innsbruck so I could have the best of both worlds. And he said, no problem, you can do your project here, but also go a few months per year to Innsbruck. So I decided to take the PhD offer in ETH because now I can do my own project, but also with collaboration in Innsbruck. Thank you, everyone. So that means I'm starting a PhD in January, February, which is really terrifying, but also exciting. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say about that. Just that I got the funding. So I don't know how this whole YouTube thing is going to continue working because, I mean, in reality, how is someone supposed to have a YouTube channel and make, like, do a PhD? Yeah, I don't know. Probably just going to be less creative videos and more just documentary videos. Like, this is what I'm doing this week with the project. This is the progress I've made. I don't know if that's going to be really boring, but we'll see. Okay, let me scroll back up. I've been talking for a while. Someone asked me, Munib, when am I going to do Ask an Engineer? Well, honestly, I don't do that anymore. I did that like a year ago, and I'm not really on that wavelength anymore. Ismaila asked, she wants to learn solid, or they want to learn SolidWorks but don't know where to start. Honestly, with any program, you have to have something you want to make, and then you have to have the program, and then you just have to open the program and try making it. And if you get stuck, you have to Google. That's what I'm currently working with, a completely new program. And I was like, okay, I want to download satellite images and pick out every single pixel that's a blue river. How the hell am I supposed to do that? I just started Googling it until I figured it out. So you just need to download it and have a project that you already want to make and then try to do it. Like, K-pop wants to know, what's my favorite part of Berlin? I love it there. The food is cheap, but it's sad because the food isn't actually that good. It's just cheap, but it's not that tasty, you know? Um, I mean, people are always like, oh, Berlin is like a bigger, better Montreal. Like, there's more culture. But in Montreal, we had amazing food. Like, it was really good. So then when I came here and I was like, okay, this food is just subpar. It's really disappointing. But compared to Zurich, at least I can afford the food here. Thank you, Manuela, about the compliment. So this last video that I made, the 5-minute tricks, and also the video about beauty gurus, they were actually more creative videos, and I don't usually make those kind. I guess I like to consider myself like an educator, so I feel like most of my videos are about some sort of science education or engineering education or advice. And then every once in a while I get this idea of like some silly type of video. But it seems like people like these silly types of videos better. I'm not sure. I guess I'm just still trying to figure out my space in the YouTube world because the kind of videos that I really like to make, for example, are like my Albania video where I was drilling sensors into bridges, or my Student for Rivers camp video where I did interviews with people. Like these kind of more documentary videos, I really like them because, I don't know, it just like actually shows what I'm doing, these kind of like vlogs. But I guess people don't like them. I don't know. If you have an opinion on that, let me know. Hans Innsbrucker. My name is confused a lot with that city. Yeah. that makes sense. Victoria Bishop. Yeah, I will definitely film in Innsbruck when I'm in Innsbruck. I will take you guys along the journey. Tushar wants to know, have I participated in career fairs? What is your experience? Honestly, I remember when I was at McGill and I went to a bunch of companies at a career fair and they were just like, apply online. And I was like, what is the point of having a career fair if you're just going to tell me to go online and apply? Like, none of them were taking CVs there. And at ETH, it was kind of the same thing. And I've never gotten an internship from a career fair. All of my past internships have been via connections. Like, you make connections, you know a professor, you know a friend working with someone, and like via networking events, that's kind of how you find internships. I think it's really difficult to stand out at something like career fairs. And if you have like 100 really good students that all have the same degree, how the hell is someone supposed to pick you? They're going to pick you if they know you. So that's my suggestion. Piero, you say your grades are bad and you want to apply for a master's, but your GPA is really bad. I think you can apply for a master's. I mean, you can try. If you don't try, then you're definitely not going to get into a master's program. But if you apply, you might get into a master's program. So I think if that's what you want, you should apply. Everyone's asking me what I'm eating. It is just falafel, people. It's nothing special. Will I collab with Tibbies again? Yes, I may or may not be going to Australia, which would be really cool. Ashwani, you got a rejection letter from EPFL. I'm sorry. I can't review your profile because people in the past have asked me to review their CVs. And I'm so busy that I just keep putting it off because they're like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal, like just whenever you can. And then 6 months later, they're upset that I still haven't reviewed their letter, and I'm just too busy. Like everything else is a priority, so I will just disappoint you if I tell you I will review your profile. So instead, I won't disappoint you, and I'll just say immediately, I don't have time. I'm really sorry about that. Do you use InfoWorks often? I don't know what InfoWorks is. Mathematica is also nice, and I bought it for my math hobby. Very cool. I've also not used Mathematica. A, B. Is it here where we make questions? Yes. Victoria, what kind of GIS software do I use for my studies? In my studies, I never used any GIS software. Now that I'm doing some remote sensing stuff at this ecology lab institute, I had to learn GIS like in the last 2 weeks, and I'm using QGIS. Libya, you love my videos. Thank you. It's not durum, it's falafel. Hans, educational videos are nice, but silliness makes you look more like us and accessible. I didn't consider that. I guess that makes a lot of sense. I guess I feel like I'm silly enough on Instagram stories, but I guess not all of you guys have Instagram stories or Instagrams. So maybe I should be more silly on YouTube? I don't know. I'm just kind of frustrated with YouTube because I feel like I put in effort, obviously not that much effort because I am super busy with like the student camp and all of this stuff, and I definitely could have put in more effort, which I will try doing now. but I'm just frustrated because I've been doing it for 2 years, and like growth is very, 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 very like linear, but almost flat. So I'm just trying to figure out if I'm doing something wrong. But if you guys like the silly videos, then maybe it makes more sense to focus on that. I'm not sure. Also, I'm still sick and my ears are plugged, so I have no idea how loud I'm talking, and my nose is plugged, so I keep sniffling, and I'm still trying to finish this falafel, so I feel like this live stream is just going downhill. Okay, let me take a bite of my falafel. Mm. Oh, Munib, thank you. You like my travel videos, and Victoria, you like my vlog docu-style videos. Thank you, guys. That's really, it means a lot. Mm. Okay, Manuela. I like vlogs and informative videos, but it's good to do something fun once in a while. Also, the fact that you never see anything funny made by engineers makes it more interesting, at least to me. Interesting. Okay, then maybe I should think about more comedy style videos. But I guess I just think like I'm not like writing jokes is weird because I'm not a comedian, but I make people laugh. So like for my beauty guru video, I literally just wung it, and that was really fun. But for example, my this last video that I posted, it took a lot of work because I could not write jokes. So maybe I just need to like turn on the camera and talk some BS for a while. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Still, please just ignore me. I mean, I'm still sick. um. Bam, 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 bam. So Alexander wanted to add to my thing about how to start with SolidWorks, and I think his answer is good. He said, try some absolutely simple projects first if you feel intimidated with the software. Sometimes it's helpful to get familiarity little by little. This is probably a better strategy, I must admit, than my strategy of just being like, hey, if you want to build a engine, just start building an engine, and if you get stuck, Google it. No, probably starting with like a square is a lot better than starting with like a car. So Alexander's advice, thank you very much. Okay. JT wrote, you should just do you and trust that everything else will work out in the end. If you're looking for your niche within YouTube world, you should check out at Silly Scientist on Instagram. Is that the girl that gets drunk on in her videos? Maybe not. I don't know what I'm talking about. What is the best engineering school in Florida that you have heard about? I have not heard of any engineering school in Florida. That is a very specific question that I cannot answer. I'm sorry. But we can all Google best engineering school in Florida together and figure it out. Do you think online courses from Coursera, EDX, etc., add value to profile or CV apart from being a source of learning? Honestly, I don't think so. I mean, I know that Stanford has like the most popular course on Coursera, which is the machine learning course. And I think if you took that course and you got really comfortable with machine learning, then you could say what you did, like, oh, took a course and learned this, or created this project, blah, blah, blah. But I think having like a course listed, I think it's better to have like what you've done with that knowledge in your CV. Like you would never go through and list every class you've taken in your engineering degree. So I kind of see that the same as like Coursera. Like I would never put down my deformable mechanics course on my CV because I took that course like once 4 years ago. I don't remember anything. I think it just makes more sense to like put down the things on your CV where you've actually put that knowledge into action. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, wherever you put your knowledge into action, I think carries more weight than just I've taken this course. It's more impressive. So like if you've done an internship or a research project, a re a research project. Sorry. Mm. JT says, Hans is right. Comedy is gold, and it's universal. It gets things across that otherwise wouldn't in an entertaining way, yet still be educational. Okay, now I feel like I have a lot of pressure to be funny and educational, which also tells me I will definitely not be able to do that during a PhD, so I should just quit YouTube right now. Mm. Jess, I ever seen you talk about Python, so you know how to code with Pythonic way, or what project is that? Mm, I mean, I can read Python and I can code Python if I Google all of the terms. Um, I'm way more comfortable in MATLAB, and I'm even using R right now. And I would say my level of R and Python are the same, which is not very good. But I do know how to use Python. Radu, you're doing okay. Just don't lose your motivation. Thank you. Jaden wants to know, how was the Student for Rivers camp? Looks fun. Wish I went. You should have gone. It was really great. It was like experience of a lifetime. All of the students were like, Jess, you have to do it again next year. You have to do it again next year. I was like, I'm literally going to be dying in a PhD. I don't think I could do it next year. They're like, no, you have to. So I guess we're doing it again next year. It was awesome. We learned a lot. We talked a lot. We hung out around the campfire, chatted, drank beer, and then we went all on the river together, floating down the river, and then had a big party together. It was awesome. Mm. Tushar, while not being in your best health and with your super packed timetable, you still managed to make these videos and maintain optimism. It's motivating, truly. Well, you know what my mom says? She says, how do you eat an elephant? And I say, I mean, probably you like chop it up and then like grill it, put a lot of barbecue sauce. And she's like, one bite at a time. So I truly believe that I am not very smart, or I don't have, like, I'm not an engineering skilled person per se, but I truly believe that the only reason I made it through engineering was because I had this mindset that instead of looking at the problem as a whole, you take it step by step in bite-sized pieces. And that's the only reason I'm pretty sure I made it through. So that is my suggestion to anyone that feels overwhelmed with anything. Just take it step by step and enjoy every moment. Ah, I just dropped some falafel. Mm, sorry, I'm chewing. Okay. AB asks, is it true that most engineers don't apply to PhDs? I mean, I would say most of the time you don't need a PhD unless you're going to go into an academic career or into a really, really high research facility or company that needs very, very specialized engineers. Then you don't need a PhD. So I would say most of the people do not have PhDs. Mm. Sorry, still chewing. Okay. Hans wants to know, did you ever consider starting Discord chat server like Tibby's has? I didn't know Tibby's had a Discord. Should I do that? I mean, I know what Discord is, but like, would you guys want that? What would be the purpose? What would we chat about? AA Strumming wants to know, how often do you use differential equations as an engineer? Do you use more partial differentials? Honestly, I don't solve PDEs in anything. Like, even when I was doing combustion, we didn't. Like, most of the time, it's kind of problems that have already been solved or people have figured out a way to model them. So you just need to understand the math behind it, but you don't have to solve them by yourself. Mm. Manuela, do you actually use hard math? I mean, what is hard math? Like calculus? I mean, I would say that math is how you read papers. Like most of the time, if I'm reading a paper and they're using a model, the model is written in mathematical language. Sometimes maybe it's just a set of equations and then they solve the set of equations. So it's not that hard. But sometimes it's a set of PDEs and a set of, or some ODEs. And that's how their model is created. So when you're reading the paper, you can just be like, oh, this is the model, skip all the equations. Or if you actually want to understand how it works, you have to look at the equations and think, okay, this is a differential, so this is a rate of x over time, blah, blah. So it's like a spatial differential. Like math is useful for understanding science, math is related to science. Mm. Okay, someone asked me, do I know how I can improve my skills using Creo? Creo is a software like Katia. Honestly, learning by doing. Just open it up, start with bite-sized pieces, try to make a box, then a cube, then a rectangle with a hole in it, and just try it out and keep at it. What programming language is the most used in your field? Well, honestly, I use MATLAB a lot to make plots because you can make really beautiful plots with MATLAB. I would say MATLAB and Python. What if you've learned to work on MATLAB and Arduino on Coursera and used it in one of your projects? You cannot put a paragraph of just one project on your CV, right? So your question is, if you learn to work on MATLAB and Arduino in a Coursera course, and then you used it in one of your projects, can you put a paragraph of just one project on your CV? I would say you can put past projects into your CV. That's experience. And I would rather, it makes more sense for you to write about your past projects than it does to say you took a Coursera course on MATLAB and Arduino. So I would definitely write about your project. But a paragraph, one or two sentences max. Hans, do you have to be a student to attend a camp? Yeah, either high school to PhD student. JT says, I wish there was an engineering community just like SciComm is for scientists, but for engineers. I don't see a lot of engineers on there. I'm mainly on YouTube, which is still good. Is this on Instagram or is this on Discord? I'm confused. Um, Someone asked me about the permanent residence visas for Canadians. I have no idea. Tushar asked, "What are some pros of pursuing a non-thesis master's program against the thesis one?" Well, I'm pretty sure a non-thesis master's is just 1 year as opposed to 2 years, so that's definitely a pro. I would also say it's kind of like if you've already decided what you want to specialize in, but you don't have enough knowledge in that domain, that kind of thesis, that kind of course-based masters gives you the opportunity to learn more because you have to take courses. And then you can integrate that knowledge directly in the field. Whereas if you do a thesis-based master's, you're on a very, very specific topic, unlike a course-based master's, which you're still in like a topic range. So say you're studying combustion, you can take like advanced thermodynamics, combustion, advanced fluid mechanics, all of these kind of to cover all of your bases within that topic. Whereas if you're doing a thesis-based master's, you're really looking at a small sliver of a problem, which can limit you in some ways. But if you want to go into academia, then maybe a thesis-based master's is better. Hania says, "I'm a first-year mechanical engineering student, and after attending classes, the thing I'm scared about is working at a cubicle after college. How true is this fact?" Well, honestly, so I just worked at a company the last year, and there was an opening at the company for like a commissioning engineer. So that's a kind of engineer that goes to all of the turbines around the world and checks up on them, sees how they're working, et cetera, et cetera. But that kind of job requires a lot of travel. 2 months in one country, a few weeks in another country, a few months in another city. And all of the people I was working with had families and stuff. So they were like not up for that job. They were like, "No, I like my 9 to 5. I like to work a bit and then go home to my family." Whereas if you're a commissioning engineer and you're traveling for work, you don't get to do that. You're in that country traveling and on the field. So I would say it's not true, that fact, and it really just depends on the kind of job you get. Someone asked me Python versus C++, your reason for choosing C++. I am not choosing C++. SciComm community is on Instagram. So your question is, you want an Instagram account just for engineers? I feel like there are a lot of these engineering type Instagram accounts that feature just engineers. So A. Strumming wants to know, how much physics do you use as an engineer? I mean, I would say again that physics is kind of in line with math for me. That physics is the way that I describe what is happening. Like you can say this is what's happening, but can you explain why? And I think understanding the fundamentals in physics allows you to describe why something is happening that you're observing. Does that make sense? So, but when you say how much physics do you use as an engineer, like, what does that mean? Like, how much, like, momentum equations do I use? Next question. Do engineers ever use probability and statistics? I think it depends on which engineering you do. Since I was in a very applied physics field, we did no probability and statistics. But now that I'm doing like remote sensing at an ecological institute, I'm moving more towards probability and statistics. And it's actually really fun to discover this whole new way of looking at science. Da, 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 da. Someone asked me, how does electrical engineering be? I think it's fine. I've never done electrical engineering, so I don't know. What do you think about chemical engineering? I think it's great. I've also never done it, so I don't know. But I have an interview with a chemical engineer on my channel, so you can check it out. Do you know Python and C++? I know a bit of Python. Is LinkedIn actually helpful for applying to jobs? No, it's a waste of time. People, like I was saying, I feel like career fairs, maybe it's just because I had bad luck, but like career fairs, LinkedIn, even applying to jobs online, I feel like they're all useless. Like I have never, ever, ever gotten an interview or any sort of communication from applying to something online. The only way I got anything was from knowing someone that knew someone that knew someone. So just networking. So I would really suggest you do that and put your energy in that instead. As an engineer, would you consider working for a European research facility where people collaborate in an international environment? Like, when you say a European research facility where people collaborate in an international environment, you mean like a place where there's international people? um, yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a very vague question. Um, what I would not do is I will never work for a company again because I guess like I'm an anarchist deep down and I refuse to make money for some person at the very top. That doesn't make sense to me. Instead, I'm going to do something wise with my skills and try to help humanity, whatever that means. That is my view of the planet. Someone wrote, Google hires engineers. Sounds like they do. Is programming language helpful for mechanical engineers? Yes, everyone should know how to program. I have only one question. If I have a project related to mechanical engineering, it is a new product and it is going to help people and nature. Who's going to help me? I don't know where to go. That you asked me this question and you said, I have only one question, just one small, very simple question. I have this project that's going to help people and nature and the world and I just don't know how to start it. You just gotta ask around, man. You just gotta find someone that's gonna help you. I don't know who's gonna help you. Maybe someone in this chat. LinkedIn is a bane if you're a software engineer. You'll feel like wildlife hunted using a minigun. Yeah, I guess if you're a software engineer, you have many job prospects. I can see in your eyes how questions are weird for you. What does that mean? Like, you think, like, you're saying that I'm not like, I'm just a weird person, or that people. So basically, maths is the foundational structure, whilst physics is the way you express things. It's like what civil engineering is to architecture. No, I almost want to agree because that would have been a very beautiful, like, poetic idea. I don't know much about architecture, but to me it seems like it's more the aesthetics of things. Whereas civil engineering is not just buildings, it's like resonance, kind of like spatial planning. It could also be, yeah, it's kind of like these types of things, so a lot different than architecture. In terms of math, physics, and science, I mean, physics is a type of science, and I like to look at it at different scales, you know, like biology is kind of like the micro to the macro scale of things. Chemistry is like the nano scale, like, sorry, the atomic scale of things. Whereas physics is like the subatomic scale, like, or maybe also the atomic scale, like, it has to do with, like, if we're thinking about water, chemistry is like the molecule, but physics describes the behavior of the molecule. Does that make sense? Like, what happens when two molecules collide? Like, this is physics, but it's also chemistry. It's like chemical physics. I don't know. Not making any sense. I'm sorry. Why are you guys still listening to me? I'm just talking a bunch of BS. Okay. Do you ever imagine yourself doing YouTube or having a channel? That's I kind of do YouTube, but I do have a channel. Mela, what is this question? I broke your ear camera. Sorry. Do you want to become an astronaut? No. PhD is another way to skip working. Exactly. Hans, I wish I could help the world with my skills. I think you can. You just need to find your motivation. What do you want to do? And how can you help? I think everyone has something to offer, but you just need to figure out like where your skills can be beneficial. So that's kind of like me. Like I knew I had technical skills, but I wanted to be in the conservation area. So I found like my little niche there. Does not knowing the country's native language pose problems while applying for English speaking graduates? I don't understand the question. You're saying, does not knowing English pose problems when you're applying to an English speaking school? I mean, I think if you can write a motivation letter in proper English, then people will be able to tell that your English is good enough. Um, but I mean, I'm not part of any graduate admissions committee, so I don't know. Do you know about building integrated materials masters in ETH Zurich? What is your opinion on it? I don't. I'm sorry. Tips for undergrad engineering. I feel like I made a video about this, so you can definitely go back and check it out, but I'm also not sure. What is my one tip? You know how you think, oh, I just need to get through this and then I'll have time. Oh, I just need to finish this assignment and like this finals week and then I'll have time. It's never gonna happen. You need to figure out how to make time for yourself in this craziness because it never gets better. That's my tip. Okay. David Hernandez, thank you for this compliment. I'm actually hoping that if I can do YouTube, it will allow me to not have to get a job and then I can hopefully do something good for the world without needing to work for a company that's probably evil because they're just motivated by money. And I don't want to make anyone more rich because I think it's why would I waste my time doing that, making someone else rich? It makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. Tushar, given ETH's global ranking, would you rate your master's experience as one of the best? I mean, I've only done one master's, so I can't really compare it to anything else. Um, it was, I mean, my profs were good, and my, um, what's the right word? Like, there was a lot of resources available to me, which is really cool. Like, ETH has tons of money, so there was never no opportunities. Ba, 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 ba. Thomas Nielsen asked me, back in Switzerland? No, I'm still in Berlin. Hanya asked, why did you choose to go to McGill? When I was applying from CEGEP, a lot of people told me that the program isn't that good, so that was why I chose Concordia. Does your alma mater make a difference? I don't know what alma mater means. I applied to McGill because it was the highest ranked mechanical engineering program in the country, and I didn't think I would get in, and then I did, so I was like, yeah, I guess I'm going there. And also, there's great kayaking in Montreal, and that was more of the reason why I decided to go there. Mela said, did you, I meant, did you ever imagine having a channel? Okay, that makes more sense. No, I didn't, and it's actually kind of weird that I'm here. Like, I still don't tell people that I have a channel because I think it's kind of really weird, isn't it? And people are like, oh, Jess, she's a YouTuber. And I'm like, I'm literally not. I'm a scientist and an engineer, but I like to document my journey on YouTube, but I'm really bad at it, and I'm really bad at making YouTube videos, and I'm blah, blah, blah. I guess, I don't know. I never imagined having one, but I'm very grateful for it, that I started it, that people actually care, because I think it will allow me to do good things. Like, if I can figure out a way to have it fund me, then I can do science kind of like really low cost and help communities that can't afford expensive sensors or whatever. I think that's pretty cool. Because right now, a lot of science is funded from industry, and a lot of science is biased because of that. And I kind of want to never be on that end of science. I want to, yeah, do good, I guess. I should stop talking. I talk too much. It's weird talking to yourself for so long. Mm. Guys, we have 5 minutes left. Mm. Okay, Rocky Raccoon. Hi, Jess. I really liked your last video about engineering hacks. It was extremely hilarious. Anyway, have you ever had Erasmus Plus experience? I'm going to spend 6 months in Ruth Ashen. Any tips? Sounds freaking awesome. Um, I am currently on like an Erasmus thing, but Switzerland doesn't do Erasmus anymore. They do Swiss mobility program. Um, so I'm currently in Berlin doing that, and it's awesome. I would say just enjoy every minute of it, and don't worry about graduating on time or being as fast as other people, because you're doing your degree at your own pace and you're having a great time. And what's the point of getting a degree and working if you're not going to enjoy yourself and smile? So enjoy. Alexander, that's kind of touching confession. I view myself as a little anarchist in the same sense as you, I guess, against the vertical corporate structure and preferring to introduce more social good. Then, Alexander, we are on the same wavelength. Um, yeah, maybe we can start our own grassroots company thing. So that's the thing. I have many business ideas, but I don't want to charge anyone any money. So I'm like, how am I going to do this awesome thing that I want to do, but without any money? Because I don't, like, part of all of my business ideas is like, I guess they're not businesses because they're not profit generating companies. They're like things that are actually useful. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like my ideas. And I'm like, well, I can do this kind of work for free if I get money from YouTube. And that would be really cool because then the communities won't need to pay anything. Um, and I think, I don't know, that's kind of like my dream. Strumming says, what are you drinking? Is that lemonade? It is Göse Radler. It's a Radler, so it's like half beer, half lemonade. Hans Innsbrucker, you have the same ideas about companies as I have. Thank you. I think it's, hating uh, economical growth and capitalism is kind of like my thing. Maybe also living in Berlin doesn't help because no one here has a job. Do you think that going for petroleum engineering is still worth it? I mean, no matter which engineering you're in, you can always pivot, and the skills you gain in one domain can be applied to another. So if you're in that program, I think it's fine. If you're trying to invest your energy in a field, I would invest in another field other than fossil fuels just because it is definitely, like, I do not see a future for fossil fuels anymore. I mean, I was in the gas turbine industry last year, people. I moved out of it for a reason. There is no future, in my opinion, there. So just don't put your eggs in that basket. But I think gaining knowledge from that domain is, of course, smart. David says, I have to thank you and others who use YouTube for teaching. Thank you. Victoria, McGill is an incredible school. I'm just finishing up at U of T. I almost went to U of T. I was really on the brink. I was like, U of T or McGill, U of T or McGill. And the last day, I changed my mind from going to U of T to McGill because there's no kayaking in Toronto. Literally, that was the only reason. And I'm so happy I changed my mind because now I kayak a lot, and I definitely don't think I would have if I continued on this trajectory of living in Toronto because there's no kayaking in Toronto. So, because I decided to go to McGill, my entire life became around kayaking, and I'm super happy about that. Hans Innsbrucker, you're a good person. No. Um, mm, mm, Victoria, are you Canadian? If so, whereabouts? I am unfortunately from this terrible, terrible town called Niagara Falls. Literally from the center of this stupid town, and I hate it. When someone asks me where I'm from, if they're a kayaker, I tell them my watershed, and my watershed is the Ottawa River. And then I say that I studied in Montreal. So I basically give everyone every other option other than Niagara Falls because I hate that place. Someone asked me, your favorite TV show? Right now, I'm watching Jessica Jones. I love it. And I also love Good Girls, both on Netflix. Hans Innsbrucker, an applied engineering and science NGO. Yeah, the other problem is that NGOs have very strict ways that they can make money. And NGOs, even if they're all fighting for the same goal, they're still competing with each other because there's only a certain amount of grant money per year. So I don't think creating an NGO is a smart thing. I think I just need to figure out a way to make money, maybe as a company, but not charge people that can't afford my help. You know what I mean? So that's why I was like, it would be really cool to make like AdSense money on YouTube and then take that money and feed it into like a grassroots engineering company that would help. I don't know. Uh, 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 uh. David Hernandez, what if you start a Patreon account for your ideas? I'm pretty sure the YouTube community would be glad to help. Just keep going and never stop. Thank you. I actually thought about having a Patreon, and I was thinking about if I should launch it before the end of the year. But the thing is, like, I can't give enough time and dedication to it. And if I launch something, I want it to be good. Because I've unfortunately supported a creator in the past that completely didn't live up to their promises on Patreon, and I was really disappointed. And I'd never want to do that. So I'm only going to start a Patreon or something like that if I know I can, um, like, give energy and time to the people that deserve it. Patreon goal 1, creative particle accelerator. No, but can we quickly, I mean, it's 9:02 and I have to go, but can we quickly just talk about the Discord channel? Like, did you guys, like, someone had mentioned earlier that Tibby's has a Discord, so I should have a Discord. Is that something you guys would be interested in? What would we even talk about? What would it be for? Yeah, JT says I should look into B Corps as it's less driven by profits for stakeholders and more about making corporate responsibility. Yeah, but that's like an American thing. And currently, because I'm Canadian, currently working in Germany, but going back to live in Switzerland, I really don't know how and where I should even consider starting a company. Like, I'm actually really confused about that. Calesia says, "How can I get your personal statement guide?" So I was selling it, but I stopped because I don't know. I stopped selling it, and I'm going to sell it again at the end of the year when people need to write their personal statements again. But if you email me, jessica@stemnin.com, we can discuss this further. Oh, Victoria, you're from Oakville. That's hilarious. My little sister studied at Sheridan College. She did animation in Oakville. So, very small world. Raisa, do you like Berlin? Greetings from Dusseldorf. Greetings. I actually really do like Berlin. I, however, like Berlin for the city, but there's nothing outside of the city. I like Zurich for everything outside, but not the city of Zurich. Does that make sense? Like, if you could put Berlin, but make it smaller and in the location where Zurich currently lives, that would be like the perfect city. But I do like Zurich better just because it's so much closer to nature. And I could crowdfund my ideas by using Kickstarter, which is also great. Yes, if I am also considering Kickstarter for some ideas that I have. Who's your favorite singer and band? I mean, I don't have this kind of favorite singer and band thing. Like, I mostly like a lot of artists from a lot of different genres. Ones that come to the top of my head are like the Black Keys, Jack White. I like Beyonce's latest Lemonade album. I like Taylor Swift's like Reputation album. I don't like the current songs from her. I like the Fratellis. I guess that's like a lot of rock, huh? I like Flume and like Ratatat and the Raconteurs and I can't even like M83 or M83 MDMT MGMT. Oh my goodness, I couldn't even remember the name of the band. I don't know, like a lot of random, I just like a lot of music, like really a large range of music. I guess I just don't like metal. It's pretty much the only thing I don't like. Mm. It is there mostly to create an online science enthusiast community. People do science together a lot there. That's pretty cool. Maybe I'll join Tivi's Discord channel and we can just hang out there. Victoria, we're just like fangirling each other here. Yeah, Jackie, like my little sister, got really good education there. She's a really good artist. Clacia, I will check my emails again. My email address is jessica@stemnin.com. I will check it because maybe I didn't get it. Okay, people, thank you so much for this live stream. It was awesome. Now I need to change and get all of these crumbs off of me. I really appreciate you guys all hanging out. Yes, send me an invite, hands. My email is jessica@stemnin.com. Thank you, people, so much for hanging out with me because um, yeah, sometimes it gets lonely here in Berlin, and it's just nice to have friends. If you want to hear about like last minute live stream changes, then make sure to sign up for my newsletter. I only email there once per month. And it's mostly like, hey, I'm having a live stream on this day, or I'm changing the time of the live stream. So make sure you follow that. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And if you have any really cool video ideas, I don't know, just email me or DM me on Instagram. YouTube comments are really difficult to keep up with just because there are so many. So if you write me an email or if you write me a DM on Instagram or comment, it will most likely be seen. Thank you aggressively, Mohammed. Okay, ciao everyone. I had a great, great time.